Okay, so in this video we'll be looking at some of the events that are present in JavaScript and how you can manipulate them manipulate them and use them in your HTML. So events in JavaScript are basically anything that the user does. It can be a click, it can be a key press, it can be anything. So there's a huge list of events that you can trigger from JavaScript, but we just be seeing a couple of them here, being the onchange and the onclick. Now let me just get the boilerplate ready. Let's have an input, and this input will have an ID of, let's say let's have an input ID of input 1, and we specify the onchange attribute, that is on input change. When the input changes, when the value of the input changes, just trigger this function. So we'll have to specify a function here, and we have to call that function too. So let's just name it as my function and call that function here. So what you're basically doing here is we're just calling this function named my function here, and that will be triggered when the value of this particular input changes. So we'll define the onchange input later, but we'll have or else we just look at this one first, just for simplicity's sake. Let's rename this function as onchange input so that we have more brevity in the naming of the function. And in script.js, let's just define that function here. We'll be using the ES6 naming convention, that is with the arrow function. And yeah, we have our onchange here. So whenever you type a new value, whenever you type a value in the input field of this particular input element, this particular onchange gets triggered. So let's just have a h1 here which says welcome. Alright, and let's just give this a class name. Let's just give this an ID. Let's just give this an ID of heading 1, right? And let's just use that h1 here, const heading 1, heading car, heading var, heading variable equals document dot get element by ID. That would be heading 1. Alright, so now whenever this input changes, we want that change to be reflected here, which means that we want this inner HTML to be changed. So what we'll be doing is we'll just using even the input element. So we just need to define the input element also. Const input var equals document dot get element by ID input 1, and we wish to change the value, so let's just define it as value here. Oops, that was a mistake. Value. All right, so this is pretty much it. Now we wish to change the input every time we wish to change the h1 tag whenever the input changes. So let's just give this input var, and yeah, we have to give this as inner HTML, or else the whole tag will be wiped and it will be replaced with the value here. So again, a revision here, we are calling the input variable. Sorry, we have the variable which holds the element that has an ID of input 1, and that's our input tag here, and we are trying to get its value and document.get element by id heading 1. So we're just getting this we're just getting this heading 1, and we're setting its inner HTML to the value which we type in the particular input field. So let's just run this in live server and see what we get. Alright, so let me just type done. Alright, let's see what we get. Alright, so I had forgotten about the including the script, so sorry about that. Script.js. Alright, so that should do it, and let me just type something and we get that. And yeah, as you can see here, it's just getting changed upon every change that we are seeing here in the input field, and that's pretty much it for this particular onchange. Yeah, so let's just look at one more example here, that is onclick. And let's just give this, okay, yeah, let's just write a button here, button, and we'll just give this button an onclick, and let's just define this function as onclick btn. Alright, that's onclick. Now the onclick actually triggers when the user clicks on this particular button. So that's pretty much it for onclick. This particular function gets triggered whenever we click the button, and that's what we want. Now let's just define the function. What we want here is, let's suppose we just wish to change the particular color of this particular heading. So we can, upon clicking this button, we can change the color of the particular welcome heading by doing this document.get element by id. The id is heading 1 dot style dot color, right, and that equals blue. All right, so pretty much that's pretty much it. Now what this particular line of code does is it gets the element of the id heading 1, that is our heading h1, and the style dot color attribute, or the method actually tries to manipulate the style within JavaScript. And you can actually this is the basic usage of how you would manipulate style within JavaScript. But if you just wish to change this to background color, that's again possible, but you will have to camel case here. Instead of CSS, which goes like this, you'll have to camel case your properties here, and any property or any CSS property can go here, as long as that particular element has a valid validity for the property. You can actually add any element here, any property here, but I'll just choose background color so that our action is more visible here. And on click button, and that's, there you go. Now okay, we just need to give that button name. Let's just give that button click me. All right, so as you can see, okay, that looks pretty bad to the eye, but as you can see, you can just click me, and this is what you get. Alright, so that's pretty much it for this video. I just wanted to introduce you to these two new events and event handlers in JavaScript. There are a lot more, on key down, on key press, and a lot more. So you can just go to, like always, you can just go to W3 Schools and check them out, or MDN is always your documentations are always your best friend. So you can just go there and check them out. This is just an introduction video. So that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you later.